Can it be February 18th? I want to be in Las Vegas, Nevada right now. Gentlemen, it's exciting times. Here we are live from the Socios Studios here in Malta. We decided that video podcasting is the wave of the future because everyone's doing it. So we decided to join in for this one special episode announcing the return of the Global Poker Awards. We finally have a date, everyone. Get things ready. Mid-February, here we go. The last time I was here in Malta in a studio was with Roland Boothby, and the studio was about 1/5000th the size. We were basically in a closet, and here we are, Roland Boothby, from the broom closet to the beautiful setting here at the Socios Studio. How are you, my friend?
Well, Eric, I'm back in Malta for the first time in 2 years, and it's a bit of an upgrade from the setting which we usually find ourselves in for the poker show. Whether that's me with my 2-year-old trying to break in, whether it's you with your wife on the bed behind you, whether it's Anthony's broom cupboard in his over there in Nova Scotia. I think we've picked a good time to upgrade because it was some big news today.
Yeah, I don't want to say my wife, Casey, is just tired of these podcasts, but sometimes we record them and she's still sleeping and she doesn't even get up. So that's just it. Anthony's seen the inside of my house because we've had so many meetings. Anthony Charter, welcome here. Your first ever studio appearance here in Malta. This must be like a time of your life for a guy like you.
Yeah, this is a real treat.
Yeah.
I mean, that video was fantastic. Good job to the boys putting that. I mean, anytime I see Rowan in the white gloves, I know shit is getting real. And it's not too far away. And
as we know, Roland would hate to be called White Gloves, but Ali Najad is the reason that he's called White Gloves Boothby. Isn't that right, Roland?
I got to correct you. He called me Jeeves at the party poker party back in 2019.
That seems worse.
I just wanted to be cool and hang out with Ali Najad, and he was like, "Oh, hey, Jeeves." It was a bit of a put down, but it's fully justified. You know, the awards for me is the night the white gloves come out. We get those pristine stainless steel trophies, very sensitive to fingerprints. So yeah, the gloves will be on, and no one else will be touching them.
Do you now have a repair kit? Being the repairman for all these awards, sometimes they come in a little in rough shape, and you've done a terrific job of taking that task away from me, and just my anxiety goes to zero because you don't show me when there's an issue and you just fix it.
Well, Eric, if there's one place I don't want to find myself in February next year, it's at the Aria gift shop buying super glue. It was a very stressful year. The time the trophies showed up in many different pieces, but it went okay on the night. Saw Jack Effel waving his trophy in the air, knowing it was one of the ones that had been glued together. So that was one of the most nerve-wracking moments for me on that night.
Wonder how many times Brent Hanks. What's the over/under on Brent Hanks calling Roland White Gloves from now on? It's quite high.
Yeah.
Probably set at 26.
I mean, a lot of the guys in the studio, it's basically how they come to know me is the headset and the white gloves. Little do they know that the rest of the year round, I just go around just with my normal hands. White gloves. Here we come.
It's quite surprising. Well, we're not only here to announce these awards, we actually are here for the GPI THM Summit. It's something that started a tradition a few years ago. Sadly, no tradition last year. COVID prevented us from all being together, but we are all together. Like you said, Roland, first time in Malta in 2 years. It's the first time our group has been together in just under 2 years. So that's quite a spectacle to see. So that's really exciting to have everyone here with Wes, with Fiobian, with the other guy, Hansi. It's hard to remember Hansi because he doesn't have a THM profile, so it's sort of hard to remember him.
Daggers
also,
right now.
of course, great to work with our friends in the back there, Richard Sambron, Beto. They do a great job, so thank you to both of you. But it's been, Anthony, a good start to the GPI THM Summit. We're recording this on, I don't even know what date it is, Tuesday, November 30th. You'll see it later on, but it's been a good start to the summit so far.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Ro and I crushed the Portomasso poker room already. Even though it was five-handed, we still basically just controlled everyone. A couple hours of sleep, but the food has been fantastic.
So far.
I always love Malta and the food.
And Roland, the main event tomorrow, Tap Room in Valletta, our favorite restaurant here on the island of Malta. We can't wait to get back to Tap Room tomorrow.
Oh, it's great to be running riot in Malta again with the team after a 2-year absence. Nice balance of work and a bit of pleasure. A few meals thrown in there, maybe a couple of drinks will be enjoyed or have been enjoyed. But yeah, and then of course this just fabulous to be recording the poker show face to face with you guys. And a lot more to come. We're going to work on some announcements for next year, which I think a lot of users of Hendon and GPI will be very pleased to see when they come to fruition.
Yeah, it'll be exciting times for the Hendon Mob and GPI in 2022. 2022, right? Yes, 2022. I'm losing time here. But yeah, some exciting announcements. We'll have some global, worldwide announcements coming soon, which is always exciting. So not just America, not just Europe. We've got some other stuff to announce shortly. We might have a new staff hiring to announce very soon. We'll have to work on that. We'll see if we can get that announced by the end of 2021. So we are here to talk about the Global Poker Awards, as we mentioned, or as we saw in the video earlier today, Friday, February 18th, live from the Poker Go studios. I always thank everyone at Poker Go, Brent Hanks, who's been synonymous at finding a spot for us in the schedule, because Poker Go, the Poker Go tour, is going to be wild in 2022, and we finally found a spot a little earlier than usual. So my man Hans and I are about to have a rough Christmas. We're gonna have to work our butts off to make sure everything is done voting wise. So for you that are usually part of the voting process, you will be contacted soon. We can't wait to hear from you. We're looking for feedback for every single award. Most award shows you have to submit your candidacy. We're looking for more and more of that. We do a lot of work in the background. We've got great people in poker that help us with that. But if you know someone or an article or anything, if it's you, if it's someone that you really want to recognize, make sure to submit that info to us at GPI on Twitter. You can always email us as well. We'd love to add those people to basically what we call the short list, which is actually a long list. And it's the start of the process for the voting process. The voting committee per category is different. It's not like before. There's no jury process. So it's basically voting per category. There's a preliminary round where the top results, usually top 8, get into the finals, and then that's when the big girl voting happens, where you have to put the pants on and really make some tough decisions and determine who wins Global Poker Awards. We'll have a list of categories up soon enough. There'll be some changes this year, gentlemen. There's been it's been a rough patch still in 2021. We're not there yet. We're excited with a lot of the content, a lot of things we've seen, but there's some categories that just won't fit for 2021. We'll hope to bring those back in 2022, and it's always fun to recognize a lot of those categories. I'm excited to say that we're also going to introduce fan voting. We had different styles of fan voting in the past. Now the fans have their own choice awards. So they'll have 2 or 3, I think 3 now, awards that they'll vote for. We can maybe premiere one right away, which is what we call the Kevin Mathers Award, which is the best trophy in poker from 2021. The fans will vote for that. We'll determine which winner they want to see. We've had some fun trophies this year. Some trophies have guns in them, and we're not gun people, but we actually think those are really cool trophies.
Yeah.
Some trophies have had surfboards, and there's been a lot of
Bagels.
Something is a 5-foot eagle that is David Peters' height. That's been a trophy this year, so that's always interesting to see. Yeah, some jackets,
jewelry.
Everything works. Some bracelets, some rings. We call it a trophy, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a piece of hardware. It could be a piece of jewelry as well. So you, the fans, will get to vote on those awards. It'll be 100% your awards. No one else will vote on those to determine the winners. So that's exciting times. We'll talk about Malta a bit later. We want the theme to be Malta just because it is, and I see my friend Fiobian here, corner of my eye. Malta's a little quirky. Maybe it's not for the people that live in Malta, but it is for us. So we'll have some Malta stories, some fun stories. Boothby will talk about being locked and naked at some point in his life. We'll talk about some of that stuff. It'll be G-rated. Don't worry. He'll clean it up. Apparently there's blood involved too, so I can't wait to get to that story. Hansi will tell us how do you get your haircut in Malta, and it's kind of a sketchy situation sometimes. So we'll have a few of those stories. I did want to wrap up, gentlemen. We haven't talked to each other in a few weeks here on the Poker Show. The World Series of Poker Europe, as of this recording, are still going on. Julien Martini just winning a bracelet, one of the top poker pros in the world. So congratulations to Julien. It's been a great, fall for France, but French poker. They've won a lot of trophies. And then people associated to French poker, I'm thinking of Leo Margetts and Adrian Mateos, for example, very much closely associated to French poker on Team Winamax. It's been a great fall for them. But let's wrap up the WSOP. Just quickly, we'll talk about a few things. I think the big theme from the World Series of Poker this year is all the champions, most of them were all big-name pros.
Yeah.
And since our last show, Benny Glazier, Ola Shemyan, former GPI number 1, Jason Wheeler, Mateos, as I mentioned, another former GPI number 1, Leo Margetts, Jeremy Osmus, he won his second of the fall, Nikita Badyakovsky, of course, another bracelet for him. And Michael Adamo, who seems to be winning everything. When it comes to seven-figure scores, Roland, Michael Adamo is your man if you're going to pick people out of a lineup.
Well, I said Adamo was a shoo-in for most feared opponent at the awards next year, and I'm standing by that.
Yeah.
He picked up a bracelet, surprised no one in the 100K high roller. And look, Eric, on the poker show. On the poker show leading up to the main event, we kept commenting on how many winners were big names. And then we had a big name win the main event. Corey Aldemir is a big name in poker. He's a high roller regular. You do not expect to see a player of that magnitude winning the main event. So I think that theme that we touched on so many times in the poker show leading up to the main event actually came to fruition in the main itself with a household name for many people winning the thing.
Yeah, and dominating and convincing style as well.
Yeah, definitely a candidate for final table performance of the year.
Yeah.
I know that you have been talking a lot about the WSOP as we've been here. Any other comments you'd like to share from the WSOP? I think you might have a question for us.
Well, yeah, I have one thing I wanted to mention. You had mentioned Mikita Badiakowski getting his first bracelet. He, going into the series, there were two names that were, kind of atop the all-time money list. The best poker players without a WSOP bracelet. Obviously, Jason Kuhn was up on that list. He got his, and Mikita got his. So my question for you guys was, who do you think now is the best poker player without a bracelet?
I'll go first because according to Max Rabinovich yesterday, he said that Roland Boothby is a top 4 player in the world. I will say in the booth, Boothby should be on that list. Boothby?
I'm yet to cash a World Series event, but when that changes, that could be shaken up a little bit. This is actually, Anthony, it's a really good question, and it was actually a sort of similar to a question I posed to Mustafa Canet when I had him on First Flag, and that was, in lieu of the fact that he was one of the top players in the world without a bracelet, actually without a major title. So I actually asked him who the most winningest player without a bracelet was, and the answer was Carrie Katz. Without a major title, and the answer was Carrie Katz. So he's going to be pretty high on that list. But if you're talking about players who the best players without a bracelet, Mustafa Canet's got to be one of them. Steve O'Dwyer's got to be one of them. I'm wondering what metric are you talking about by tournament winnings or just who we consider to be the best player?
Your personal opinion.
Mustafa Canet for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Dan Smith, former GPI number 1. So is Steve O'Dwyer. So we've seen a few four number 1s at that level.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's a tough question. It's getting fewer and fewer. A lot of these stars are winning these bracelets now, so fewer and fewer names. I know Dan Smith won a WPT title a few years ago, so it's quite interesting to see. I guess it'll be interesting. Your boys' predictions on the main event. It's funny. Just 5 days ago, everything seemed to be roses in poker. We seemed to be going. We were all going to EPT Prague, and here we are now canceling our flights as Prague has been canceled. Hoping that next summer things turn around and continue to be positive. What are your preliminary numbers for a main event, number of runners for a main event?
I think it's going to be pretty high. America is a bit like the UK in some ways. It seems to be sort of moving forward, away from restrictions and closer to a sort of situation where you kind of deal with COVID and live with it. So I think there will be a lot of players, European players, returning to the World Series this summer. There'll be a huge amount of interest in the new venue. A lot of people didn't like the Rio. You got a lot of players who were kind of happy, content to kind of play at the strip properties. A lot of them will sort of, you think, will wander down to Bally's Paris. So I think those reasons combined, I think we could be looking at a pretty high number. You're obviously still going to have some COVID issues, some vaccine issues, the issue whether they'll stick with that particular mandate and that sort of proportion of society who choose not to get vaccinated, whether they'll be allowed back in. But I think we could easily be looking at 7,500 runners in the summer.
What do you think, Anthony?
I think it's going to be monstrous.
All right.
9,669.
Biggest main event ever.
I think we're fast approaching that possibility of breaking 10K within the next couple of years.
And do you know who wins it? The guy who won the biggest main event ever already.
Jamie Gold.
The comeback. Jamie Gold. Hey, we're gonna get to group chat very quickly. Before we get Hansi over here, get him set up for his grill session when it comes to group chat. I want to talk about back to the awards just quickly. Roland, these will be your 4th, 5th awards. What are your favorite memories? Maybe 1 or 2 top memories from the awards. And well, you can't say the buffet at Hendon. You can't say that.
other than donning the white gloves each year, for me, on a personal level, it's got to be presenting the Hendon Mob Award to Miami John. I know we talk about Miami John a lot on the poker show, and some listeners might be thinking, "God, these guys don't shut up about Miami John." But that was the best. I mean, to be up there on the stage presenting silverware at the awards. Where I mean, I'd attended my first awards maybe 2 or 3 years before that, so that was a huge moment for me. I guess the surprising of Eric Danis at the final American Poker Awards with that award there was a very special moment. You were, I think, you'd just been operated on for cancer at the time. Yeah. Most of it some viewers or listeners may not know that, but that was a very emotional moment for yourself and for everyone in the audience. There's been a few, and just getting to spend a week in Vegas with the team working on such a sort of fun event for the industry, and it's just very special. And I think for all of us, it's the sort of pinnacle of the year. And as I've said before, there's a lot of unglamorous work that goes on behind the scenes at Hendon Mob GPI, but this is one of the more glamorous side of things, which kind of makes it all worth it.
Anthony, your favorite memories? You've spent a lot of time at the PokerGo studio, but it was only your first time at the GPI Awards, the Global Poker Awards, just 2 years ago.
I mean, I guess like just hanging out and doing all the cool stuff that we did. I mean, we went to a Golden Knights game, which was pretty awesome, and all the food and stuff. But I mean, like, I guess generally, when you're in and around poker, you see all these people. Usually they're wearing sweats or just very chill clothes at a poker table. But just to see all the men and women in poker getting dressed up for the evening and looking amazing, that's really cool too.
It's the best part. To me, it's the best part. It's people dressing up, really taking these awards seriously. Also, the emotion. You mentioned the emotion of, I'm a crier. So that's, I wasn't before, but I've become my father. So I cry a lot of these things now. They're a labor of love. But to see Maria Ho, Sarah Herring winning a few years ago, both so emotional. These people work. Sarah, for example, gets a lot of credit. She's fantastic at what she does, but she felt finally recognized by her peers. And she's been working in the industry for so long. Same for Maria, who came out of nowhere to win the Broadcaster of the Year that year. Those are fun awards and fun times, and these people really, really love. They appreciate winning. I always say in poker, there's like the coolness factor. It's like, well, couldn't care less about these awards. But then when you win one, it's like, well, that's pretty cool. And I always tell people that, it might not just be you. If you're not interested in it, that's fine. But your boys back home that have been playing home games with you since you were 12, or your aunt or your uncle, for them, that's a proud moment for them. You've been recognized in your industry. And that's what I love about the awards. It's the recognition. It's the fact that it's the only award ceremony that exists in our game, in our sport, whatever you want to call it. But those are important stuff. Just last night, as we record this, it was the Ballon d'Or, presented by Socios.com, by the way. But, Messi wins. And, you'd think that he's just used to winning this thing because it's been so many times. But, again, very classy and enjoying it. And it was a big spectacle, a big moment for football around the world. And I really hope that, I think the more these awards take place, the more it will be on our side as well, mostly recognized. It's not for us. I couldn't care less about us. But I do think that it's fun, it's independent, and it's, recognizing the best talent in our game.
And one thing I've always found interesting is when you talk to players who've won awards, they find it's actually one of the best ways of justifying their profession and talking about poker to their families and to people who perhaps aren't familiar with poker. A lot of poker players will have to deal with skeptical families and people who don't really understand this kind of world they frequent. We're all in this world together, and we understand it without any problems. But a lot of players, and even media people and the people who work in the industry do find it a little bit hard to explain poker to family and friends who don't really have any interest in that. So I think they find awards actually possibly one of the easiest ways to show outside of poker, showcase their talent and say, look, this is, I'm actually one of the top names. Look, I've just been recognized by this award ceremony. And it's just a great way of, besides just telling people how much money you've won, to justify and explain why these people are so amazing at what they do.
I love the fact, too, that Tana Karn and the Run Good people literally travel with the trophies. I think that's really cool. I love that. And again, it's just a show. And for Tana, it's great too. And for his tour, is to show the venues and show the players, look at us. Twice we were the top tour, recognized mid-major tour. And that's important too. And you're right. We've heard from so many players that have told us that they've, opened opportunities because of winning those trophies. So that's always exciting. All right. We're getting ready here. We're starting our group chat, a little different format here.
I'm
We're going to get to you. That's right. You're right on my lap now. So we've got Hansi he's going to be set up in a few seconds. But Roland Boothby, let's start with you. I had heard a story of your friend Alan being locked in between two doors in your apartment, maybe. But then last night he went a step further that you were also in the same entrapment. Please tell us about this unique situation that would only happen in Malta, according to me.
Well, I mean, I turned up thinking I was only going to tell the Alan Asteroid story.
You can go. It's up to you.
We can maybe drop the other one in. The other one's a little bit more a comedy of errors. So Alan Asteroid, a good friend of mine, former resident of Malta, came around to my house for a poker game. I think we had 6 or 7 or 8 people. He decided to leave early. Now the house had my apartment block had 3 doors. You had the front door, the kind of middling glass door, and the front door to my house. Now the main door to the apartment was always unlocked. People could just come and go, and they were usually prevented getting further by the glass door. On this occasion, he left my flat. He went through the glass door, closed the glass door behind him, but the front door, which was usually open, was locked. So he was trapped between 2 of the doors with completely soundproofed. He couldn't get away, couldn't get out by shouting, by knocking. I think for some reason he couldn't get through to anyone.
Blocked.
The cell phone coverage was where
he
shouted himself hoarse for 2 hours. And eventually he was found when the remaining players left to leave at the end of the night. I think eventually he gave up.
So hold on, what you're saying, glass structure, soundproof, no cell phones.
Yep.
Was that the inspiration for the cube? I think that's where the cube comes from.
Well, I
think Alex Dreyfus
I'm not sure if Mr. Dreyfus has heard the story of Alan Asteroid.
Probably not.
He's never asked me if anything fun had happened at the weekend on that particular week or time. So I'm not sure if he's aware of the story. It may just be a coincidence, Eric.
I like it. So are you going to tell us how some people said you were naked stuck in that?
One night I sleptwalked into that particular area myself. And not only that, there was a tiny bit of broken glass on the floor as I was sleepwalking around, which I stepped on. So I was stuck in my boxers, locked out of my house, whilst also bleeding around the lobby. And I just had to run. My good friend Max Rabinovich, luckily lived 5-minute run down the road. So if anyone saw me kind of running through that particular night with a bleeding foot, it was me. He was very surprised to see me at his doorstep. That's for sure.
He's a hard sleeper too, so good for you for waking him
up. He wasn't asleep.
He wasn't asleep. Look what the cat dragged in. Hans Kleinsman is with us. He's got what he tells me is the best story you'll ever hear in your life. It involves guns, scissors, and a fire. Hans Kleinsman, how are you doing? And please tell us your great Malta story.
There's no guns in my story.
Not at all. Have to be one big cat.
That's right.
No. When I first moved to Malta like 10 years ago or something, after a few months, she'll need like a haircut. And very close to my house, at the Strand where I used to live, there was a hairdresser. €5. Great price. Let's go in there.
Sounds like a good price. That sounds scary.
Alarm bells would have been
alarm
ringing
bells
for me already.
should have gone. Yeah. It was not the alarm bells that went off. Halfway in the haircut, auto horns, blazing stuff, and the hairdresser is like, "Oh yeah. Wait a minute, Mela. I'm double parked. I'll be right back." It took the guy 15 minutes to find a parking spot. And I was there, sitting in a chair, alone. Just a few months in Malta.
You could have cut your own hair.
No. Maybe you do that.
Yeah, just grab a razor, Hans, shave it all off.
So you had half a haircut.
Yeah. What do you do?
For €5, that sounds like a deal.
Wait, you didn't wait to finish?
Yes, you do. Of course you would.
Okay.
But, Roland.
Did you tip him?
No, of course not.
I guess they don't tip around here anyway.
Was this person already there when you arrived, or did you arrive before them? Was it in their apartment? Was it?
No, it's
a
a
storefront.
it's a regular barber shop.
So he had been double parked for a long time.
Yeah.
It's the same parking
He
spot
showed up
every day.
for a day of work and double parked and expected that just to be cool. That's like the most Maltese thing
But
I've
then
ever
just
heard.
left during the haircut to take care. And to try to go park somewhere else, which is an issue in Malta. It's hard to park
Yeah,
somewhere else.
that's why it took like 15 minutes for him to return. And I was just sitting there in the chair, I was like, looking at the mirror. It's like, no, I can't go outside like this. I have to stay.
Oh, I love
And some
Malta.
other customer walked in. It's like, what's going on here? He's double parked.
You could have made
He'll be right
$5
back.
on
Yeah. Did you ask?
You could have cut the other guy's hair
Yeah.
and made your $5 back.
100%.
He had him sit down. He offered a water to the guy. It was very, very nice. It's good of you there, Hansi.
How far into the haircut? Back and sides are done? You just left
Yeah,
you
no,
just had a mop on the
just
top.
side, yeah, just
Okay.
with clippers.
That's-
No, it was.
Just kind of started a new
You
fashion.
could have just had a mushroom.
You're a leader, Hans.
The mushroom.
You're a fashion
icon.
You're
yeah.
a fashion leader. That would have cottoned on.
Don't remember one time you and Max had your haircut at the same time, and yours was not too bad, but Max got a terrible haircut.
I think that was a €7 haircut.
Way more
bit,
class.
one level above what Hansi was going, but they did treat us well.
If you go to a hairdresser in Malta, make sure it's €10 or up.
At least, yeah. If you're paying €5, you're getting what you expect. Like, that's less than supercuts in America. Like, that's, boy, Hans, that's a.
My wife pays $200 or something.
Yeah.
I don't mean women.
My wife
you
pays
can't
a mortgage
you can't
payment,
even- you can't even compare.
But they look great after, of course. They do
Oh.
great jobs with their hair. So
Well worth it.
Yeah.
$200.
It's a great story. We wheeled on a chair for Hans, and I was expecting
Some
big
boring
things.
story.
And-
No, this was
I mean, if you're going to wheel on a chair and a new guest in the middle of the show,
Yeah.
it's got to be a good story. And I think he did the business.
I enjoyed it.
Oh, that was nice.
Hey, C, do you have any funny, quirky Malta stories? You've only been here a few times, but
Yeah, I mean, getting here this time was a nightmare. I'll never go to the Paris airport again.
I like the way you call it the Paris airport.
there's 8 of them. But is it? Oh yeah, be careful. Our producer is yelling at us because of.
Yeah.
Is it,
well,
was
sorry,
it,
Richard, but CPG. If you're flying
Charles de
internationally,
Gaulle, CDG, not Orly. You were at Charles de Gaulle.
yeah, yes.
Okay.
What a nightmare. 2 hours to get to my plane from literally underneath where I got off the plane. I was like, oh, that's the plane I
It
just
doesn't
got
sound
off.
that bad, actually. I think
Didn't you encounter like a bus strike in the middle of transferring between
I did,
terminals?
yeah. Halfway through the bus ride in the terminal, one bus driver just decided to leave.
they had reached their quota. Yes.
Yeah, and then another bus driver hopped on, and of course you had to go through this checklist.
In fact, if we're not hurrying up here, our producer will be leaving in the next 7 minutes. His shift is over. As well.
Union rules, boys.
Yeah.
Richard is the least unionized Frenchman I've ever encountered. So that's good. Yeah. Big French fans.
But no, I don't think anything too quirky is.
At least you didn't have to miss
It's been
your
great.
connection and fly to Munich like one of the new Socios hires did.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was probably less than a minute away. I mean, they literally closed the door behind me when I got on the plane. The stewardess were already seated with seatbelts on.
So what you're saying is that these French people actually waited for you. So they're actually really good
Yes,
people. They
yes.
waited for you to make sure to make the ride to Malta.
Yes, the staff
ticketing
had
agents
no control over the layout of the airport.
Right.
The staff was amazing. Yes.
What's
Very
your-
helpful.
what's,
the whole way.
Sorry.
No.
I was going to ask Eric, what's your wildest Malta story? I know you used to take the stairs to our office on the top floor on the
I did.
Strand, and for me, I thought that was the one of the wildest
Yeah,
things
that
I'd
was
seen.
weird, yeah, because I used to not eat very much at that point, and then I started coming to Malta, and you have to eat a lot because they have breakfast and lunch, and I'm not used to that. I don't know what it would be a weird story for me. I mean, we've had some wild nights. Boothby and I can't tell the story. We can't tell. Involves a murder plot and a really wrong story that ended up with our barkeep actually giving us advice on how to.
I mean,
to do
speaking
it.
of that,
That was day 2 for me in Malta, by the way.
the accident last night.
Oh wow, yeah, I think
Several
that
hours.
could justify a
Breaking
wildest,
news.
wildest story in Malta.
I think the wildest story for me is his Roland Boothby videos. He's now starting off a new Instagram account where he's
if you
gonna
see
be skateboarding,
No, it's on the scooter.
scooter
The
boarding
electric
everywhere.
scooter.
I have been partial to the odd journey via e-scooter since arriving on the island.
They see me rolling. They hate it.
Yes.
That's right.
Well, I'll tell you who's hating. The missus back home has sent me a message forbidding any further. She heard about the car careering into the pavement last night at a bar we just left.
Yeah.
So I'm on a complete e-scooter ban
Oh, man.
as of now. So I mean, it's just a matter of, do I defy the ban and tell her, or defy the ban and not tell her?
No, I think you have to negotiate the ban. You know,
Yeah.
Daytime, no drinking.
She seems to be on board with mornings.
Just to say that
Yeah,
yesterday
more-
we went for one beer at one bar at the City of London, a very popular spot here in Malta, especially for tourists, I assume, very touristy area. And, there a few hours later when we went by that place again, because then we went to another place, our favorite place in Malta, Brian's spot there at Baluta Bar, there was a car that had ran into the building.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go. That's major news here in Malta.
Yeah, there was a car inside the building.
Do you know, and I will say, if I can say this, the Maltese, I mean, the first time you drive in a car here, you're scared shitless
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
with these taxi drivers. But they are excellent drivers.
Well,
you rarely see
phenomenal.
accidents in Malta.
No,
for people that drive so crazy, there's never accidents. The streets are this big,
Yeah.
and yet they get. So I was surprised to see an accident. Speaking of accidents, and maybe Richard, if we can get Fiobian here, we're about to grill him about the quirkiness of Malta. So maybe do a switch there. But while we do that, we'll get to Boothby here, because Boothby, your first day in Malta, you were assaulted by a vehicle.
Yeah, that's a story that I haven't been reminded of for a while.
Well, because
I
of your
actually-
concussion from.
I turned up in Malta as a sort of 28-year-old, a bit of a poker fanboy. Decided to make my way out to the casino, try and make some like-minded friends on the island. It turned out there was a PokerStars event going on at the casino that night. Isaac Haxton was there. I was pretty blown away by that. So just got chatting to some locals players and some of the PokerStars guys. We ended up in a bar. I ended up somewhat staggering home to try and find my apartment, which I'd only been in for 2 days, which I obviously didn't know the lay of the land particularly well, and managed to find myself on a roundabout, which I thought was a car park on Spinola Bay, opposite the love sign. And yeah, there was a car going around that roundabout, and it clattered into me. And
It is an odd roundabout. That area is a little odd if you've never been. Like it's
it's an unusual layout. It looks like a pedestrianized square. But it turns out cars come around it pretty quick, especially at 4 a.m. And as Fiobin will probably tell us, drink driving pretty normal here.
That's not true. That's not true. Don't say it. Don't say it. All right, we're here with our good friend Fiobin. Fiobin, you're very proud of Malta, just the way I am of Canada. Does it insult you when we talk about the quirkiness and some of the weird stuff that we see as foreigners when we come to Malta?
I think finally you got a Maltese on the podcast, though, right? Because you've been speaking so bad about Malta.
That's not true. It's not in bad.
But then finally you got someone to balance the books, right? So now I'm here to defend my country.
We're going to count on
This guy balancing the book.
So let's start with the first thing. That the accident of yesterday, he wasn't a Maltese.
Careful, careful.
Yeah.
I'm not saying what he was. He was not a Maltese guy. So
It's true. He
can we
was
start
not
from
from
there? Can we
Malta.
clarify?
I'm happy that you started that way.
He was not Maltese.
Are you saying if he was Maltese, he would have made that corner?
Oh,
He would have.
100%,
I mean,
yeah.
he wasn't, so who knows? I made that road like 100 times in my life. I never went into the bar, so you know what? So let's not generalize here, guys.
Before we get too much into Malta, I have a question for you.
Sure.
You are the Chief Financial Officer for Socios. You do the same for us.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big title for 4 guys working, but we still love to have you with our team. Is it true that we're still paying for a container in the desert in Las Vegas?
I think that's classified information, but if you look at my face, I don't know.
A lot of people that get the inside joke will love to hear that from you. So when we're talking about Malta, we're talking about the quirkiness. Do you at least understand some of the things we talk about? Do you see it on just the driving? Like, you must understand, for someone that doesn't live here, it's scary. The roads are this small. There's cars parked everywhere.
Yeah.
There are one ways that no one respects.
In fact, they say, my father used to tell me that if you drive in Malta, you drive anywhere else in the world.
It's true.
That's
It's true.
Because people are coming from
100%.
They're the
the
best
front, people are
drivers.
coming from the
Yeah.
side, pedestrians, like English people who doesn't know where to
Scooters.
walk on the pavement, walking in the middle of the road, and they're surprised that they ran over, you know. So I think driving in Malta gets you to drive anywhere else. Maybe except Sicily, because Sicily I think is worse than us. But
Do you look down your noses at people who use their indicators?
indicators, what?
The turn signal.
That little lever you turn down.
So that
and
lever, that's
you-
called an indicator. I don't know. I don't use it.
Never heard of it.
I don't use that. I don't use that.
I can't even go. You mentioned your father who we've grown to know this week, the superstar at the Mercure Hotel.
Yeah.
Please, if you're going to Malta, Mercure, it's a beautiful hotel. I won't say ran by Phiobian's dad, but he runs the show. Just doing a great job, a great service. He was excited to see us. We're excited to see him. You must tell him some fun stories about us.
Actually, I don't tell him everything. I tell him some of the stories that I can tell him. But one thing I told him is that, listen, you have to take care of those guys. Those guys are special, you know?
Nice.
Because we're getting here in Malta around 100 people, all
Right.
at this hotel. But I told them, there's these 6 guys that you really have to take care. Don't really care about the others. No, it's not true. It's not true. But these guys are special, so please take extra care of them. I think he's doing a good job from what I'm hearing
Doing a
from you
great
guys.
job.
So-
Yeah.
Fantastic job.
He's really doing a great job for us.
there you go.
I didn't qualify for the hotel, just to let our listeners.
I mean, it was offered to you, as
He
far
was.
as I know. You
It
just
was.
didn't take it up, man.
It's
So
true. You can still, you know what? Knowing Phiobian's dad, if you want to come for breakfast,
Oh, yeah.
he'll make it happen for us.
sure
That won't
he
be an issue.
I wish I'd taken the hotel option. This trip has broken me financially. My partner and mother-in-law came here a week before I did, and they checked out of their apartment on the first day and decided they didn't like it. So they decided they were going to go somewhere new. So I paid for 2 apartments.
Oh, you still have to pay for the other one.
Yeah. And Rowan trashed his
Mela.
current
Yeah, well,
apartment.
Mela, the guy Mela hasn't given me any money back so far.
What about you breaking stuff at that apartment? Apparently there was glass.
yeah.
You have a
yeah.
weird history with glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and glass. Me and things just tend to not react very well
Cars.
together. Yeah, anything that can hurt me. Yeah, yesterday morning I jumped up a bit too quick from the bed, possibly running a little bit behind schedule, and just crashed straight into a glass light fitting that was overhanging the bed, precariously low, I should say. I mean, I'm a tall guy. But this light should not be at the end of the bed where someone would sit to put on their socks and shoes.
And if I may, I have another story overall.
Please.
I'm not sure we have to cut this out
No,
after.
no, we
but,
don't cut everything out.
I remember one day when we were at the old Strand office when we found the door broken, the front door broken.
Oh, yes.
And the only person that actually went into the office was Roland Boodley.
Oh, I remember this. Alex Dreyfus was not a happy man.
So,
Oh, yeah.
so this door was locked, but somehow it got unlocked,
That's
right?
true.
Probably by force.
It wouldn't open.
But we did find the door broken the day after. So who
What's
knows what
wrong
happened?
with you, man?
Who knows what happened?
I will tell any story on a podcast, but I won't discuss anything regarding doors and broken doors at the old office in Malta. That's the one place I won't go.
We also had talent barge in the office yelling at us. So that's happened too at the circus that was the first Strand office. Fiob's, one of my favorite things that I get to do as president of this company is take everyone to Vegas for the awards. Talk to me the moment, I mean, that's always been a goal of yours to come to Vegas.
Always.
The moment you landed in Las Vegas, I remember when I saw you guys at Park MGM right after, how exciting was it for you?
I mean, the thing is, I had my fair share of traveling, right? Both business and even pleasure. But when you actually land in Vegas, it's like a different world. In the lights, all of a sudden, the gambling, which I happen to love a lot. So the food as well, the drinks, everything, it's just heaven. It's like a week of, we worked there as well.
Yeah, it's hard work.
We actually came up with a great show as well, but we enjoyed it as well. So, and being with great guys as well, like you guys, I think it was the best. And in fact, I'm looking forward year after year for this. So
2021 will be a record-breaking year for Vegas. I thank everyone. I don't have to pay taxes. That's always important. But a record-breaking year for money spent in Las Vegas will be 2021. The reason is this guy wasn't there in 2021 because he breaks the bank. He is the king of craps when it comes to the Aria. I heard the Aria was almost closing.
Yeah.
And actually pretended there was a COVID outbreak to shut the buffets because you were eating all the food as well.
Can we
so-
not say it because they will ban me from the area from playing craps? That's one thing. So I don't want that to happen.
That would
And they
be
will
the-
ban me from the area as well for the buffet. So,
That might
so-
be the saddest thing for you. If the Aria would ban you, you'd be really upset.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Right.
true. Hopefully they won't.
Can I tell you my favorite thing about Fiobian at the awards?
Yes.
People may know that Fiobian isn't as much of a poker fan. Well, previously as,
is
as
now.
the rest. He is now.
He is now.
But previously not quite as big a fan of poker as those of us who work full time on GPI THM. Fiobian got the task, and he was the perfect man for of manning the list and showing people to their tables and telling them where to go. He asked every single arrival at the awards what their name was. Phil Helmuth, Daniel Negreanu, Mike Sexton, Maury. Every single person got asked for their name by this guy. And some people probably laughed it off, but there might have been a few egos bruised of being asked for their names
Very nice.
at 100 or 120 man poker awards with some of the biggest names in the game.
But that's doing my job well, though, right?
Very,
my
very
job
well.
was
That's
asking
right.
the people their name, give them their seat number,
right.
and they go. And I did
Do you
right.
have identification?
You don't look like a poker player. Are you sure?
Maybe next year we'll ask for the COVID certificate as well. So
That's
for the
right,
green
yeah,
pass
might
or
be,
whatever
yeah.
it's called there. So yeah.
Some exciting times. All right, I think we've done a good job here. I don't even know how long we lasted, but it's great. Fiobes, we can't wait to see you in Las Vegas
Thank you
in
very much.
February.
Thank you very
You
much.
know that you're an important person to me at the awards. You do. You know when I'm at my level, at my peak, and you save me with a lot of stuff. So
course.
always fun to get you there.
Thank you.
Big thank you to Maria, who's allowing Fiobian to come. You know, our partners
Hopefully.
our partners sacrifice quite a bit for the awards and for this summit as well. You know, it's 2 weeks out of the year that we're away from that. I just realized it's the first time we're with Anthony here live on tape, talking about a new baby Aria. First of all, has the Aria sent you some swag? They said they would.
No, not yet.
Okay, well,
I would
alright.
assume, USPS is not the greatest or the speediest.
Oh yes.
Of,
I think it's something
Pony Express.
currently in the air maybe.
I would
yeah.
assume
Or
there's
in
something
a freight van
somewhere, held up at customs, maybe even. Why is this going to this person? Yes, I would assume there's something coming.
And
I've
Anthony,
been told.
we're all supported by great partners. Your partner allowed you to come here to Malta a month and a day after your child was born. So how about we give a special shout out to her?
Yes, I'd like to say thank you to my beautiful wife Nicole and my parents, who Nicole is
That's right.
is
Taking care.
currently visiting with Arya 1 month after she was born. So big shout out to her. Appreciate all she does.
Fiobes, will baby Jamie be coming to the awards to play craps at age 7?
Maybe not this year. Maybe in a couple of years. Yeah. At age 7. There you go. Yeah, at age 7.
I think he'll be big enough and maybe have some hair on his body, maybe a little beard.
I mean, if he's like his dad, maybe he won't have hair.
If Fiobes can't grow a beard, I don't think his son's gonna.
We'll see.
You never know. That might skip a generation. Maybe your grandfather was.
Yeah, probably. So we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Well, if he looks anything like his grandfather, that's going to be a good-looking young man,
There you
Jamie.
go.
Because
There
we're
you
big
go.
fans of
There you
your
go.
dad. All right, I think we've talked enough. Are we
Certainly
good?
have. All
That's
good.
enough time. Thank you so much for joining us. The Global Poker Awards live on Poker Go, February 18th, Friday night. Cannot wait. It's going to be an exciting time. The biggest names in poker will be back. It's been 2 years. It's been long enough. And we can't wait to celebrate poker once again at the Aria, of course, the beautiful Poker Go studio at the Aria. Big shout out to Tim Duckworth. Big shout out to Brent Hanks, to Maurice Gondani, Dan Gotti, everyone at Poker Go. Kerry Katz, of course. Everyone at Poker Go that make these awards come true. Can't wait to see you. We hope that you'll tune in, and we'll see you February 18th.